Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm Paul Jasson, your host, and I think you're in for a rare treat today. We are on the road. That only happens a few times each year. We're able to leave the confines, the beautiful downtown lobby of Fairfield Federal, which is only maybe 100 yards behind us right now, and go out on the road for whatever the certain subject matter is. And we have got a heck of an opportunity for you today. We are at the Sherman House, the only Sherman House there is in Lancaster, Ohio, on Main Street Hill right here, and we are in for a treat today. We've got the Sherman Saber that you'll be able to see that was recently acquired by Micheal Johnson and the Historical Society here. And I have the man with me, Micheal Johnson. First of all, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for being here in Sherman's house.
Oh, well, thank you. And believe me, it's our pleasure. Shane and I are honored to be here. But congratulations. There have been, when we look back at this year, the events in Lancaster, this is going to be in the team photo of the greatest events for a long time in Lancaster. To acquire this Saber, after all the machinations, all we're hearing about it, all the opportunities, we knew the cost was going to be high, but wow, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I bet you know in your history background, I'm surprised you're not floating right here.
I haven't slept well. It's been a month and I still haven't slept very well. Leading up to it and after. I thought it would be better after, but I'm still, it's just a buzz.
So it's been a month since you acquired the Saber up in the bid up in Columbus. You were able to do it up there, and tell us about how that came about, when you first heard about this opportunity was out there and making the decision to go after it.
Sure. So we got word, we were actually contacted by the auction house themselves.
Sure.
They reached out to us and said, I just came back from Pennsylvania with some artifacts from General Sherman that you guys need to know about and would be interested in. So the auction house reached out to us, I think it was November or December, and said that there was an auction planned for the spring of 2024. So it gave us, not a lot of time, but it did give us some leadway to plan. And he said one of those items is his Civil War Saber, along with personal items from Lancaster that you should know about. So that's
Did your head just about explode when you heard that?
I got really mad. And it was like the 5 stages of grief. I've been through the 5 stages of grief about 5 times during this period. Really high and really low. And to know that these things were going up for auction was kind of heartbreaking at first, because I thought this, we're a nonprofit. Fairfield Heritage, we don't receive tax money. We do what we do because of our members and donors and generous people in the community. How are we going to acquire these items? There's just no way. So at first it was just heartbreak. I did not sleep that night when I heard, because I just thought, these items, they're gone. But we came up with a plan, and it worked out for us.
That morning that this occurred, you had to be a little anxious,
to say the least,
because you knew there were going to be other bidders out there going after these items, and there were. Yes. The Saber in particular, we knew, and we had. So there were a lot of different estimates on the table. Now the auction house said we think it'll go between 40 and 60,000, but when we got there, they told us no one believes that. I think that was their way, and it was pretty smart of getting people to come in and be like, maybe you got a chance. Yeah. Everyone knew this was going over 100,000. It's just how far it was going to go.
that morning we were hearing estimates of $250,000. And when it's that point, it's like, again, it's highs and lows. We'd get a big donation or something. We can get it, and then you'd hear an estimate and you just drop. So it was a lot of up and down. The morning of the auction, the Saber, of course, was the last thing. And I don't have any auction experience. It is limited to local auctions on like woodworking tools that matter to nothing. There's no national significance to that planer I didn't win. So this was a lot different. And as the Saber, as we were bidding on the Saber, I mean, my knees were shaking. I was lucky I was sitting down. Well, I wouldn't have had a choice because I would have fallen had I been standing. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. I was anxious. It was exciting. It was incredible, and I never want to do it again.
So from the time they opened the bidding on the Saber till the gavel comes down, it's the Lancasters to take back with them. What was that length of time?
So relatively quick. Although at the time it felt like an hour or so, but it was fast.
Really?
When they started, because they allowed online bidding up until, and during the live. Mm-hmm. So by the time we started live bidding, it was already over $70,000 from online bids. So that's where we started. We knew of at least 2 phone bidders. There was an online bidder, us, and one other person in the room. And one phone bidder went out at around $80,000. The other phone bidder, we were actually told by the auction company, was the Schottenstein family in Columbus.
Pretty deep pockets.
Absolutely. But they asked on the phone who was in the room, and they told them, well, this person, the Sherman House Museum. And when they heard that, they said, we're going to hang up. Wow. Which is an unbelievable gesture. And I don't know what their plans were, and maybe their plans were just to keep it in Central Ohio. Mm-hmm. And knowing that the museum was here, they felt okay to let them go and let them have it. So the phone bidders were out. The online bidder went out at $100,000, and it was just us and another bidder. Now the bidder that was there was a professional, and he was bidding on behalf of another institution. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't tell me who at the time. He said he'll tell me now, but I haven't reached back out to him. But no one wanted to be the person to take it from the Sherman House Museum. So when he bid, he actually got up and went to the other room, and all we could see was his hand reach in when he was bidding, because it was almost like shame, like
what
we
trauma.
Can't take. Yes. And it got to about $125,000, and he comes back into the room and he says, we're going to bow out. Lancaster should have this. And I had the bid, and she said final warning, and then it felt like 2 hours went past before that thing dropped, and then my head went into my hands. I almost fell over, and the Saber was ours. And
was Wendy there with you?
Wendy was right there with me.
She was exactly the same, I'm sure. Just a basket case.
She had her tissue ready for me. She knew what I was going to turn into, and she was so grateful, because that would have been a long ride from Columbus back to Lancaster if we didn't get that thing. So she knew what was coming if we didn't win it. But we showed up, and she had her big Sherman shirt on, and I had my Sherman socks on. And we just went in there like, we're the Sherman House, we're from Lancaster, like we're here for these items, and if you're going to take them from us, you at least know you're going to look us in the eye, and you're taking it from the museum.
Now, you went up there with the Historical Society. You had money in hand, mostly from donors.
Absolutely.
How many donors do you think were a part of this group that you put together?
So there were almost 100 donors. Wow. From across the world.
Oh.
So as far away as Australia, we received donations. So it was a lot, and it was incredible, and it was.
They're probably still coming in.
Yeah, we actually, after we won it, we had people say, well, here's to help with, because our display has to be updated a little bit and more secure. So yeah, we had donations to follow that as well.
Now, we're going to get to the sword here in a little bit. We want to take a minute or two to talk about another item here that is equally important.
Yeah.
Was this book that we're going to look at the first item in the Sherman collection among how many items?
This was the second of, I believe it was 70.
Wow.
There's 70 different lots. And some of the lots, and as a museum, not all. Now, as a Sherman fan, as a museum, I wanted to take a tote and
Sure.
just take everything with it. But as a museum, things don't make sense for us.
Yeah.
You know, we had Grant's memoirs that were annotated by Sherman. I mean, just unbelievable things you'd want to have. But as a museum,
Yeah.
what are we going to do with that?
Yeah.
That needs to be in a scholarly institution where students, authors, scholars can go look at, safely put back, and have for record. We can't do that here at the museum.
Sure.
So there were things that just didn't make sense for us.
So your
But this
other
was one of
purchase
them.
was this book,
Yes.
and we'll look at it here.
Yes.
And you can open it up, and then we'll have Shane get some shots so everybody can see later
Sure.
what we're looking at. But tell us the amazing history on this book.
So this is Sherman's childhood algebra book. And childhood meaning this is what he had in Lancaster. This was from the Lancaster Academy.
Pre-Lancaster High School.
Pre-Lancaster City Schools. This was a school that his father helped found with General Samuel McCracken of the Georgian. So this was his algebra book, and he takes this to West Point with him. But just like any 8, 9, 10-year-old boy who has a notebook at school and they're scribbling, this is what you see in the book. He writes his name about 6 or 7 times in here, different times where he's just sitting there writing his name. And he's doing math problems in the book.
Just in the margins.
Yeah, just in the margins. And then you can tell when he goes to West Point, he puts pleb William T. Sherman, because he was a pleb.
Which
when he went
what
to-
they're called when they go to
when
an
they
academy.
first arrive, correct. And he puts pleb William T. Sherman, Lancaster, Ohio. Just it's an incredible piece of history. It's other than the Saber, this was what we had our eye on because it connects him to here and connects him to the city. So yeah, this was and this went over $1,000 for this book.
Same bidders in on this one, you think, or different ones, or?
Yeah, it was a different collection. There were a lot of book collectors and a lot of institutions there because of some of the things that
Different
were offered.
group, perhaps. with
Yeah,
books.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we were really excited to come away with this.
We are at the Sherman House, and it's an amazing beginning right here. As Michael's told us the story to get to this point, he's been at the auction. He's gotten the book. We're getting down to get the sword now. It's unreal. I mean, I get goosebumps just even hearing the story. I imagine you and Wendy were one giant goosebump while this went on. It's amazing. We'll be back in a moment.
The staff that have been here know what it takes. They've been on the other side. They see what it takes to make someone comfortable, to make the family comfortable, and really what kind of support they need. And so I think that's what really makes Fairfield what it is.
I want a doctor who listens to me.
From primary care to specialty medicine, we put your needs first by treating you like a person, not a number. Our primary care team will help you identify your healthcare needs and set goals for success, regardless of where you are in your wellness journey. We care for patients of all ages, with offices that are close to you. Whatever you're searching for, you can find it at Fairfield Medical Center.
The reason why I do what I do is I love helping people, and I really love to work on understanding and striving to improve the lives of the people in our community. Being in Fairfield County is having a network of people around you.
I am driven by my belief that every individual deserves an opportunity to achieve mental and emotional balance, and I'm very passionate about contributing to that process.
Community, connections, collaboration. The Fairfield County Way.
We are back at the Sherman House with Micheal Johnson from the Historical Society here, and talking about the Saber that was purchased a month ago at an auction and brought to Lancaster, that will remain forever here in the Sherman House. And as I look at it here, Micheal, it is unbelievable. And we're calling it a Saber because there's a slight curve in it.
Yes.
And the reason that is he had this made.
Yeah, this is a variant of what an officer's sword would have been. So this was suited to his likes. The sword maker was actually, in his own right, a Civil War soldier for the Union. He was in Massachusetts.
And he did these kinds of things for soldiers.
Yes, he was a swordsmith, and he made this variant for General Sherman.
Well, why don't you hold it up, and then Shane can get a shot of you
Sure,
with that. And you'll notice we have gloves on. Micheal knows how this is handled. This is the item right here, the Saber that the Historical Society got a month ago and will remain here under almost armed guard here. By the time it's going to be on display, it will have some very big safety precautions around it.
Yes.
But this is the baby, huh?
This is, and he would have been issued this at the beginning of the war, and we know that he would have carried this up until the March to the Sea. He didn't carry a Saber with him on the march. They rode, as I'm sure most people know, they rode as light as possible and lived off the land. So these sorts of things they didn't carry with them.
But he would have used this in battle.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this would have been on him up until the March to the Sea. So battles like Shiloh, in which he had 3 horses shot from under him, and he's wounded himself, this sword would have seen all of that. So it's absolutely amazing to know that you're in the presence of something like this. It's just fascinating.
So he was issued this, or they had this made.
Yes.
In 1861, roughly the time the Civil War started.
Yes, and he would have received other swords. One of the other things that they did was they had presentation swords, which is almost like trophies.
Sure.
So
chrome looking, or maybe very.
So after Shiloh, he received a presentation sword, and it was very nice, very shiny. The Smithsonian has it. This is not a presentation sword.
The real deal.
This sword was a yes. This was a working sword.
Yes. So we could only guess about what the stories that he could have told about this one item in his life, which perhaps saved his life at some moment.
Yeah, we never know. But it would have been with him every step of the way. And so it's just, it's still, I just get at awe of what it means historically, and what it means to the Sherman family, what it means to this museum, what it means to the city of Lancaster.
We are in the Sherman House. We've seen the book that they've been able to acquire, his algebra book from the Lancaster Academy here in Lancaster. We've seen the Saber, which they acquired. The big ticket item, of course, was able to get that. But there's so much more to see at the Sherman House. We're going to go upstairs where there's many, many other items. So we're going to take a break, and then we'll do that. Micheal Johnson is with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference. Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our 2 locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
We are back at the Sherman House. We are upstairs. Is this the second floor?
This is, yes. This is the second floor.
This is an unbelievable room. The things, the actual history here, you can almost feel it. I mean, the things are just palpable.
A lot of artifacts here, a lot of things used during the Civil War, a lot of things, personal items that belong to soldiers as well, including General Sherman are up here.
We've got a lot of plans coming up here.
So this was one of the first things I said. If we get the sword, I think this is where it belongs with the Civil War memorabilia. But this needs to change. This is glass. It's all locked up, but this would make me nervous. So we're going to have polycarbonate replace this, a lock that you can't access, different things like that. But the polycarbonate here is, I mean, it's going to be bulletproof. So if you want the sword, you're really going to have to work hard to get it. You're just not going to be able to come in and take it. So this will be the future home of the Saber. I keep calling it a sword, but I get corrected. It's a Saber. And then we're going to put some of his other personal items with that Saber as well.
Now, do we have a time frame on, I'm sure with the Lancaster Festival coming, you want to have everything set for that. Is that the goal, or are there other goals?
The goal is to be done this month in June.
Okay.
Yes. So it'll be on display. We'll announce it on social media. It's ready to go. It's ready to see. It's here. And we'll open the doors.
Well, as somebody that's like yourself, grown up in this town, this has always been here. And I'm not proud to say that I've probably only been here. I've been in town now for almost 77 years. I've probably only been here a couple times. I came once as a scout, which every kid comes as a scout. And I was here once as an adult. My wife and I came through. But I'm almost ashamed to say at this point, those are the only 2 times. But I bet there's many people in this community that have, well, we can go there anytime. It's not on our bucket list. We can go there anytime. Well, now is the time.
Yes, it's amazing when I tell people. Last year we had visitors from 35 states and 6 countries. And I think if you're from here, you have that sense of, it's right there. I'll get to it. Like, it's not, and you lose sight of just how important it is. This is the kind of thing that will remind you of its importance, and you'll be back.
Well, this will be the draw. There is no doubt about it. So sometime in the month of June, this all should be opened up again. We'll all find out about that. Now, tell us a little bit about maybe some housekeeping things about the Sherman House. What are the hours here, and will they increase?
The hours will not increase. We're going to be open Wednesday through Sunday. And tours are on the hour beginning at noon. And the last tour goes out at 3. So we have tours at noon, 1, 2, and 3, Wednesday through Sunday.
Okay.
And you can book online, or you can just show up.
Really?
Yeah, you don't have to book in advance. You might want to when the sword's announced, to make sure that there's room, because there is a cutoff point where we won't allow too large of groups to come through at times.
How many people in say, a tour would be the ideal?
12 or under is ideal, because it starts to get a little tight. But we've taken up to 15, 18 people at a time. Yeah. We don't want to turn anybody away.
And does the tour typically take an hour?
Yeah, the guided part is downstairs a little bit up here, and the rest of this is self-guided. So the guided part is about 40 minutes or so. And the rest, it's however long you want to spend.
Yeah. Michael, thanks so much. This has been just a great moment, and I'm sure for you. And I know prior to you acquiring the sword, you talked to media all over the country about this. Everybody that understands what this was all over the United States, perhaps more, wanted to chat.
Yeah, that was a little surreal, getting to work, and the New York Times called, or CNN or Fox News. They were from all over the place wanting this story. And, at first I was like, I don't want this out there. I don't want anybody to know that this is happening, because it's going to bring more bidders. But it worked out that putting it out there and letting people know, no, we wanted that. Like, this is something we want, I think worked in our favor.
And I would have to mention, I'd be remiss if I didn't, that CNN, home-based in Atlanta, perhaps has a warm spot, warm not meaning anything, warm spot, in the no pun intended, for the Sherman people. But did they make any comments about that, about being Atlanta or anything like that?
No, everybody was just kind of taken back by the history of it, and set that aside. A few jokes here or there,
sure,
of course, but yeah, it's the historical just nature of it just overplayed everything.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, again, congratulations to the Historical Society and to you for kind of being the trailblazer on this and putting all the wheels in motion. I'm sure it's, I don't know if you think your life is peaked now. Perhaps it has. Perhaps you'll have more children someday and there'll be bigger moments than this. But up to this has to be a pretty high point. Look pretty good on your resume at this point.
Yeah, I could go now. And I'd be all right. Yeah, so once this
Micheal Johnson with the Historical Society. And again, come to the Sherman House. We'll have details, and social media will be full of this. In a couple weeks from the time you see this, things will open up, and it'll be here for the festival. But again, I'd call ahead, make some plans to do that, because there'll be people coming from all over the country to do this. You say you've already got inquiries from everywhere.
Yeah, people asking about hotels, where to eat, different things, planning vacation. So we expect it to be busy.
Well, congratulations. We don't need to think Lancaster was put on the map by this, because we've been on the map. But this has put perhaps the Sherman House more in the bullseye and on the map here. So thanks so much for this guided tour of this place. It's amazing. The Sherman House in downtown Lancaster. Micheal Johnson has been our tour guide today, and we appreciate it very much. And thank you for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.